Hi guys, I hope you're doing really well. So in this video, we are going to discuss a problem statement given by one of the companies in their Salesforce developer interview rounds. Now this was a problem statement that was given by the company, and this was their first round. Like if you pass this, then only they will um, call you for the interview, and based on this particular submission that you do, there will be further rounds of interview. So let's see what the problem statement was. This was a document that was provided. Thanks for applying for a job at, I've changed the name of the company. Part of the developer Salesforce developer recruitment process is programming assignment. After completing the assignment, we'll discuss your solution and the choices you have made. Please show off your Salesforce skills in code or explaining your design choices. Now there were two use cases in this that was given as part of this document. Now let's see the first use case, which was when the customer service agent receives a phone call to book a maintenance check for the vehicle. The agent should be able to list out all the suppliers who provide the maintenance in the city where the customer is located and check the location in a map. So we have to deal with the map here to help the customer book an appointment. So the suppliers are stored in an independent custom object in Salesforce. So suppliers will be a custom object residing in Salesforce, and this is the object definition for the supplier object. So we have name, city, latitude and longitude, which will determine the exact location of a particular supplier. Now you may also create the flat fields to log the address of the supplier if needed instead of geo coordinates. Okay, that's fine. So next up, the customer service agent should be able to search the suppliers that are located on the billing city of the account, starting from the account lightning page to see a list of suppliers, and then be able to drill down to the each of the suppliers to view the list of exact location of the on the maps. So few things to note down here is, first of all, this should be shown as a map, and there should be exact locations pinpointed on the map. Along with that, there should be a search functionality as well, so that the agents can search the suppliers. So here are the two things that you should know about this. So let's see how this will work out. And also there's a note saying that the suppliers in a particular city can be more than 100. So that means that when you search a supplier and the results are going to show up, it could be more than 100. So you need to also take into account the pagination part as well. So let's see this in action. I've built the component and I'll quickly show you how that looks out. So here we have this component called search suppliers, and here we'll enter the city in which we want to search for the suppliers. So let's say I enter Indore and I search for that. So here we have the name of the supplier. This is this sample data. So the name of the supplier along with the latitude and longitude and the city in which the supplier is in right now. The offset of the suppliers in this page for pagination purpose, I've kept it as 5, and here we have this buttons to show up the other records as well. Now see, here we have this map component, and inside this map component we have these um, markers. This is the first marker for this particular record, and then the second, and so on and so forth, and that pin points to an exact location. So here, if you see, if I zoom this out, you'll be able to see we have these five suppliers. Don't worry about the latitude and longitude. These are showing because these are sample data. If you um, make it out like it should be in Indore, then put the latitude and longitude for Indore location only. Right now it's just sample data. So if I click on next, here if you see, again it's just sample data. So but if you see, the map refreshes and it shows us the next 5 markers. Okay, right now I've kept the size or the page limit size as the 5. You can keep it 10 as well. So yeah, this is the thing that we need to basically build, and this will be on a account lightning page layout, lightning record page layout. Okay, so now let's see how we can build this step by step. The first step that you should be doing is create the object schema for the supplier. So create a new custom object called supplier, and these are the fields that should be there: name, city. This is a text field, latitude and longitude. You can keep this as number fields. Okay, so let me show you how that looks like. So I have these fields that I've created. So here we have city, then we have latitude, longitude, and the supplier name. Okay, so the object I've already created. Next thing what we should be doing is we need to build the searching the supplier component, and we'll figure out how to add maps to that later. Okay, so first of all, search the supplier. So here this component we need to build. Okay, now let's I'll start from scratch and show you step by step on how we can achieve this. Okay, so we'll be building this component inside this admin console for now, and then we'll be shifting that to the account uh, record page. Let me show you how the supplier record looks like. So here we have the supplier name along with the city, the latitude, and the longitude. So that's it, very basic um, layout. Now let's create our lighting web component. We'll call this as agent search, and let's create that. Okay, first of all, what we need is, well, we need a lightning card. Suppliers. Okay, and we need to have one input box in which the agents will enter the city, and it will search for that particular city from the supplier list. We'll have an on change handler for this. Handle city name change. Okay, cool. Now let's add a button as well. When clicked on this button, the search functionality will get triggered. Handle search. Okay, so that's it for the markup. Now let's add this markup on the page. Okay, so here we have the simple markup. Whenever an agent enters a search city, then when clicked on search, it will search for all the cities that, sorry, the suppliers that we have, and display in a data table. Okay, now the result should be displayed in a data table, right? So what should we do? We need to declare one data table here as well, so that it shows us all the um, records.
lightning data table and
Put a key field as id for now, and the data would be stored in a variable called suppliers, and we need to specify the columns as well, the headers,
columns.
and make hide checkbox as false on columns as false. Oh, sorry, it make it as true so that it gets hidden. I think that is all for the markup for now. Let's head to our JS and define these things. Handle city name change. mm, let's define these methods.
and
for the columns and suppliers. So we'll declare a track decorator and make the suppliers, declare the suppliers here. In the columns, what all things do we want? So it should have the name of the supplier, and the field name for this is name only. Then you want to have the city of the supplier. This time it will be city underscore underscore c. And then we have lastly we have the longitude and the latitude part. Yeah, handle city name change as well. So here we'll accept an event as a parameter, and we'll define the city first. Define the city. Okay. Event dot target dot value, and we'll define the handle search later. Now this is the basic um, things. Now these are the basic things. Let's define the actual search logic, right? So what do we need to do is we need to define the search logic. And where do we need to do that? We need to create an apex class to handle this search functionality. So let's do that quickly. Supplier search controller.
okay,
It should return us a list of suppliers. And what should be the query? And there should be a string called city name that it should accept and the return us all the details of the supplier. Latitude, let's just copy from here. Some supplier where city equals to the city name. Okay, looks good. Let's deploy this, and let's import this. Let me change the name of the method. Supplier by city name. Let's import this now in our JS. Okay, now let's reference this inside. Once again, yeah, now it's good. Now let's reference this inside the handle search. So if you see here, we need to supply the city name and it will search for the supplier. So let's define that also in the handle search. First of all, let's say if city is not blank, or if there is some value inside the city, then only do this. So city name to this dot city, and this is asynchronous, so let's then and catch also. And this dot error. So let's define error also. For now, let's keep this undefined, and in the catch, this dot error equals to error dot body dot message, and this dot supplier, make it undefined, and also in the else part we'll just say the error is please enter a city name. We'll make again the suppliers as undefined. Yeah, first deploy this and then we can deploy the JS. Cool. So this is done. Okay, if you see, we are already showing this name, city, longitude and latitude thing, but we don't want that um, unless the city name is entered. So what do we do for that? We need to add an if condition in the HTML so that it doesn't show until the data is there. Template if true directive, let's use that, and only if the supplier data is present, then only show us um, this, otherwise don't. Okay, looks good. Yeah, now let's see. So that got hidden. Now let's search for a city here, and when you click on search, it should show up all the um, records of suppliers that we have present in Salesforce. So we have all these suppliers that are there. Now if you see the problem statement, it also tells us that take into account that the number of suppliers for a particular city could be more than 100 also, right? So if there are more than 100 suppliers, then the users will need to scroll. Let's say there are 1,000 suppliers, and users will need to endlessly scroll onto a page to see all the suppliers. We don't want that. So let's implement the pagination functionality here in this search functionality. So basically, what does before understanding pagination and how would you build that, understand something called as offset. So if you go to the apex and let's say, let me show you the, yeah. So here we have all the records for the city Indore. Now let's say I want 5 records only. So you all might be aware of limit, but what if I want to skip the first 5 records? So I'll use an offset of 5, and the rest remaining 9 records it will show me. So it's basically skipping the 5 records. So that's exactly what we'll be doing in pagination. So once you set the pagination, let's say you go to page number 2, you will skip the, let's say, first 10 records and show you the rest of the records. Okay, so now let's see how we can do that. To do that, you will need to accept the offset and the size limit, and you need to also define these things here. Limit is what, um, basically this what you are expecting here. Sorry, yeah, the binding variable, and the offset as this offset size. Sorry. Okay, now we have made the changes to this particular method. Now let's see what all changes do we need to make in the HTML as well. So in the data table, just after the data table, we need to show the previous and the next button. Define an on-click handler, handle previous page, and this should be disabled for the first page. So we'll define a get property here. Same thing we'll do for the next page.
Yeah, next.
And the next page, and disable this on the last page. Okay, right. So this is done, except we need to close the lightning buttons.
Good.
Also, let's add a functionality to display the current page count. So we'll add a span here. Let's give it a class to show it properly. And here we'll show which page the user is currently on. Now let's define all these things inside the JS. First of all, define all these things called, sorry, yeah, for the page, current page, let's keep the current page, give it a default value of 1, and for total pages we'll give it a default value to 1 as well. um, let's put the page size to 5 records, let's say, for now. This is the number of records that you will be showing to the user per page. You can change this. Okay, now in the handle search we need to implement all these things. Okay, so in the handle search right now we are doing this if this city. Now let's change that to if this. Will add the functionality of current page also. And what I want is, instead of doing this inside the handle search, let me create a different method which will actually load the suppliers and show it to us. So let's move all this logic inside there. And in here we'll just call this method. Now let's see if we have done all the things that we need to do. So we have this, we don't have this handle next page. Yeah, let's implement this current, let's see if we have this current page and the total page. Yeah, current page is there, total page is there, and then we have handle previous, it's not defined. Let's define this as first page and is last page. Okay, so this is, as I said, this will be a getter property.
This will say
If this, if the current page is 1, then get first page will be true, otherwise it will be false. Similarly, let's do the get last is last page.
current page.
Now how do you define that we have reached the last page? Because we don't have the total page, we have not defined the logic to get the total pages that we need to have in the system. So we need to define that as well. Let's see how we can get the total pages. uh, is that get all the records that we have in the system first of all, and divide that with the divide that with the page size. Then you will get the total pages that you need to show. So in the Apex, let's get all records for that particular city. Integer get total supplier by city, and we'll supply city as a parameter, and let's and what it will do is it will return us the count from supplier where city, and yeah, that's it. We are returning an integer, and based on that integer we can check like what will be the total pages that will we need to have. So we have this integer. Now let's store this somewhere. We'll call this as total number of records, or total records. Initialize this with 0. Okay, let's import this method as well. Cool. Now we need to uh, handle this method as well. Call this method from the JavaScript to get all the um, yeah, to get all the number of records. Okay, so instead of this load suppliers calling our method, I'll change this to fetch suppliers, and the load suppliers, I'll call this new method, will supply the city as this dot city, and again it's an asynchronous call, so you need to cache and then uncache the promise. So we'll store this in a variable called total. If a value exists for total, then let me just quickly log that value if we get that or not. And we'll set the total records to this variable, from this variable total. And now let's calculate the total pages that we need to show to the user. So what we'll do is we need to divide the total records by the um, page size, that is the number of records that you're showing per page. So this dot total records divided by this dot page size, and this could be a decimal also, so we need to make use of math dot ceiling, so to ensure that it's on always an integer. Looks good. In the catch, yeah, in the catch we'll define the errors,
Yes.
and we'll create a method for this to specially log this errors, or you can do the same thing that we have done here. Where is that? Yeah, like this also you can do for now. Okay, this dot error equals to error. Okay, yeah, looks good. Let's remove this. Yeah, this looks good. Now from the load suppliers, let's call this fetch suppliers, so that it shows us, yeah, so that it shows us the once this computation is done, this calculations are done, we'll call the actual logic to fetch the suppliers and search for that particular um, for the particular records with that particular city name. And if you remember, we also added two more parameters here saying what's the size limit and what's the offset size. So let's define that also. The size limit, that is per page, what how many records should be shown, is in page size. And for offset, offset is stored in, will store it in an offset size variable. Let's define that also. um, Offset, yeah, we need to calculate that offset size. Offset size calculation. So how do we calculate what should be the offset? If the page is 0, then there should be no offset. If the page number is 0, that is we are starting right now, the offset should also be 0. If it is page 1, then it should be 1 multiplied by the page size. Okay, so based on this we can say this dot current page, whatever we are on, minus 1 into the page size. So it will be like on the first page it will be 0 into 5. And in the first page it will be skipping the first 5 records. In the second page it will be skipping the first 10 records, so on and so forth. Now we'll pass this variable here to our apex method. Yeah, that should do. I'll now miss handling this previous and next page. Now let's handle that as well. So we are loading the supplier, then fetch, yeah, calling this. And yeah, it's also handle next change, next page change. If this dot current page, whatever current page that we are on, if this is less than the number of total pages that we have, then only we'll increment the size of the current page to by 1, otherwise we don't. And once you do that, you need to again call this fetch suppliers to get the data based on the calculations of the offset. Okay, so we'll call this again. Same thing you need to do for we need to do for the next sorry, the previous.
And the previous page.
Now here we'll change this to if it is greater than 1. Okay, then only will decrement the page, like we are going back, so decrementing the page. And again we need to call the fetch supplier, but we need to also append this dot, we need to yeah, we need to say this dot fetch supplier. What's the error? Line number 27, right? So we were just discussing and just went to apex. So here, if it is the last page, then we need to disable that button. um, if the current page count, if it is equal to this dot total pages, then we need to disable that button. Okay, now let's see this in action. Yeah, okay, we are not seeing page 1 of or page 2 of that, the total um, pages count, that we are not seeing. Let's see why is that.
See, we see this total here.
14 divided by 5, it should be 3. um, should be showing us that. Okay, there is a typo, that's why I insist on copying every time the variable names. It should show up now. Yeah, page 1 of 3. Cool. So we have these records showing up, and the previous and next page are also working. Now let's go back to the problem statement. What we have built as of now is we have built the search the supplier component, but we are yet to build the maps. Now this maps, we are going to make use of lightning maps that LWC provides us. So here if you see, we need to check, based on the billing city of the account, we need to search the suppliers and also pinpoint the drill down the um, location of each of the suppliers to view their exact locations. So for that we can make use of lightning maps. So in maps we have this something called as map markers that we need to define, and inside our HTML and JS, and once we do that, we will be good to go. Now let's see how we can do that. So first of all, we'll define the map, lightning map. We'll give it a class okay, and there's something called as map markers, and we need to declare there. Yeah, map markers. In the JavaScript, we'll store it as map markers, and in the center, we'll say map center. Map style will say it should be satellite. Oh, that's fine. We don't need to define this. Cool. Let's end this lightning map. Okay, map markers is not a valid attribute for lightning map. Oh, come on. Yeah. Now here in the JavaScript, we need to define all these properties, map markers and map centers. So let's do that. Track map markers and map center. It will be a object with an attribute called location, and this object will also have a latitude. This location, sorry, would have a latitude and a longitude. For now we'll just keep it to default as 0. Okay, now let's define these map markers, or give them the values that are needed. So firstly start with map markers. So in the fetch supplier method, where we are getting fetching the suppliers by the city name, we'll define this map markers. Start map marker equals to this dot suppliers, because suppliers have the results that we fetched, and we'll map this with a temporary variable called as supplier. Location equals to latitude being supplier dot latitude underscore underscore c, and longitude is supplier dot longitude underscore underscore c. Also give this a title. These are optional attributes, by the way. Title will be supplier dot name, and we can also give a description this is also temporary. Sorry, this is not required. Yeah. These are not, these are optional values. You can, if you want, you can do that. Supply the values to this city. Okay. I'm not sure what's the error, but let me type that again. This let me write that again. Yeah. Um, mm, Map markers equals to this dot supplier dot map, and create a supplier temporary variable, and inside of this we need to define the location. Cool. So we have defined the map markers, yes, map markers, and if the map markers are present, then we need to also define the um, other attribute called map centers. So if map markers dot length, if it is greater than 0, yeah, if it is greater than 0, then we need to define the map um, center as well. Let's pick the first one and say this is the latitude, same thing for the longitude. mm, mm, yeah, I think we should be good now. Yeah, I think, yeah, we should be good. So we have defined the markers, that is the map markers, and the map center as well. So let's see. So let's see why we need to center that map. When you have multiple markers, the component caters the map, centers the map on a location near the center of the marker by calculating the geometric mean. So to have that, right, to have that center, we have defined this center as map center, so that it locates the center attribute. See this in action now. Right, no, we have all these suppliers, and this is the actual pinpointed map based on their longitude and the latitude values. um, so yeah, if you click on next, it will show you next values like that. So yeah, this is the problem statements solution that we needed to build based on this use case. And yeah, you need to submit this like the code with the apex classes and all, along with the screenshots if possible of the outputs. So once you submit that, they will verify your submissions and see if you have followed the best coding practices. Once they have verified all this, they will call you for an interview where you have to explain the whole thing, and they can probably ask you some changes to be made on this particular application. And this is the same application that we built, yeah, that we built and added on the account page layout. So yeah, so the agents can now, search for all those vendors or the suppliers, and yeah, reach out to them. So yeah, this is the component. um, just make sure that you're following the best practices, and your code is clean, you're not and the variable names are good. So that's it, guys. That's the solution for this particular use case. I hope you enjoyed this video. There's another use case for this scenario of this document. Let me know if you want to discuss that, want me to discuss that as well. I'll be happy to do that. I hope you like this. We learned something from this. Take care. Bye bye.